All right, we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our third segment. Hopefully you guys liked the new commercial before it. That was pretty cool, in my opinion. So, we're going to talk about some free agent news happening last night that was kind of surprising, in my opinion. Didn't really see it coming and came out of nowhere, which was that Michael Lorenzen has finally signed, and he has signed with the Texas Rangers. Now, Lorenzen was one of the more notable guys left on the market. I'd say him and Mike Clevenger, and of course Jordan Montgomery, I couldn't forget about him, are the real guys left in the market for starting pitching for teams that want them. Obviously, Montgomery is more of a financial commitment than Clevenger and Lorenzen, who are guys that are going to get short-term contracts for not a lot of money, I'd assume, as we see with Lorenzen. Clevenger as well, we'll see what he gets. Again, I talked about this a few times, but there are some character concerns with Mike Clevenger, so I'm not exactly sure how that will affect his market and overall what's going to happen with him. So, yeah, that is something we'll see about if anyone does end up signing Mike Clevenger. So we'll be seeing that. But yeah, so Michael Lorenzen to Texas, 1 year, $4.5 million. You can get $2.5 million in incentives to make it overall to $7 million. So overall thoughts on the deal for the Rangers and Lorenzen. First, for Lorenzen, I like this deal for him. I think getting 4.5, getting a chance to get it to 7, I think was a really nice deal for him. At this point, you don't really know where you're gonna go because you haven't been signed. You probably have to build up towards the season. So I think it was a nice job by him landing with a team that not only is competitive, but has a clear starting role for him. So I think it was a great move, and I think it was a great job by Lorenzen to finally sign, and also sign with the defending world champions. Again, signing with a actual contending team this late into the season is pretty great by him. So I'm excited for him and excited for him to get a starting job. So now thoughts on the deal for Texas. To be perfectly honest, I love this deal for Texas. I honestly love it. I've talked about so much on this podcast how much I do not like the Rangers going into the year. I think their pitching's flawed. I think they needed some more guys. I think they should have re-signed Montgomery, which obviously is not going to be the case now, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But so I think Lorenzen is a great move by them, a great buy low signing, only 4.5 to get up to a chance to 7, only for 1 year. Brings a lot more depth to that rotation. Nathan Eovaldi, John Gray, Andrew Heaney, Dane Dunning, Cody Bradford. You're telling me Lorenzen isn't better than Bradford? I'd say he is. So he slots in right there, probably to that number 4 or 5 spot. I think it brings a lot more depth to this rotation, not only now, but when the other pitchers do come back. Tyler Mahle, Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom. So I think it was a great job by them to get another pitcher involved and really just add more depth to this rotation and pitching staff that needed it. So I was really excited for the Rangers to get this deal done. I think it was a great baseball move. I think it was a great fit on paper. And I think they knew they needed to add another starting pitcher, whether they wanted to admit it or not. They talked about how they felt fine with their rotation right now and that they didn't really want to add another guy. Well, I didn't really agree with that, and I didn't think that was true. But I think they realized this, and they realized they need another guy, and I think getting Lorenzen is an awesome move for them. Again, adds a lot more depth to this rotation, gives them a number 5 guy here, a guy who maybe isn't going to have a 3 ERA or something like that, but probably have a low to mid 4 ERA, which is fine for a 5 guy. Eats a lot of innings, throws quality pitches. Just a guy you can rely on every 5th day to go out there and throw some okay innings. Just an innings eater. And that's really all you want from a 5th starter. You don't need a guy who's going to have a 2.5 ERA from a 5th starter. Would that be great? Of course it would be great. I think any team would want that. But looking realistically, a 5 starter is just a guy that eats innings whenever you're at the end of your rotation. A guy that a guy that goes in the lineup that day, and the hitters are like, okay, we know we have to do a little bit more this game. Our ace is not on the mound. This guy's good, but he's not going to give us the numbers that we want. He's going to throw a lot of innings, and we'll feel comfortable there, but we know we have to hit a lot today, and we know we have to outscore him with runs. We're not going to win with pitching. So I think Lorenzen was a great signing there. I think 4.5 is a totally reasonable price for him and the team. Again, no state income tax in Texas, so he gets all that money. Great job for him. So I think overall it was a pretty great move for Texas. I think it was a great move for Lorenzen. And overall, I just think it was a great move by both sides, and I really, really liked it. So with that, I will say now, where does it leave the Rangers now and also the other free agent starters? So now, for Montgomery, first of all, I think that's officially closed the door on a return to Texas for him. Obviously, we had heard that Chris Young said they were unlikely to add anyone else notable or Jordan Montgomery to the team. I believe that, but now it just feels more real because I don't think after signing Lorenzen, you're going to also sign Jordan Montgomery because of the financial situation you find yourselves in. So I think that officially closes the door on Montgomery to Texas. He only pitched there for a little bit, but wow, was he incredible there. I mean, looking at him, comparing him to other trade deadline acquired guys, I would maybe look at a guy like CC Sabathia getting traded from the Guardians to the Brewers as a comparison for this. A big name pitcher getting traded at the deadline, hoping a small market team get back to the playoffs for the first time in a while. CC obviously did it with the Brewers, and they only went to a wild card game, so they didn't do much after that, and Montgomery won the World Series. But I think comparison in that way is good because both are big name left-handed pitchers, guys who help their mid-market teams get back to the playoffs, have a really exciting playoff run, become heroes in the place they played in, even though they didn't play for that long. So I think it was a great move by Texas getting him at the deadline. He was one of the big reasons you got to the World Series. So a great career in Texas for Montgomery that was short-lived, and I don't think any Rangers fan is going to be mad at him for leaving. And I think they all recognize how special he was to this team, even for that little amount of time, and how much of importance he was for the team to win the World Series. So the real thing I want to talk about here is how much better does it make the Rangers? Does it make them better enough to get me to put them into the playoff standings now? No, it doesn't. Now, again, I said I love the Lorenzen signing. I do. I think it's a great move, and I think it's a great job there. But I don't think it's as significant enough as a move to get them to automatically climb my list of AL teams to make the playoffs. Teams I still think are better than them. I think the Yankees, Astros, Orioles, of course, are better. I would say their teams in their division. I would say the Mariners are better. I would say the Blue Jays are better. I think they're on track with the Rays, but I'd lean Rays. So I don't think it makes them as significant of a significant enough upgrade to get them past these teams that they were kind of clumped in with before. So as much as it is a nice signing, I don't think there's any move they could have done sorry for the word mumble jumbo, to get into position to be a team that I'm going to count into the playoffs no matter what. Could they make the playoffs still? Absolutely. 100% they could. I think there's a real chance they still make the playoffs. I mean, again, they're the defending world champions. Like, I'm not going to doubt them at all at any time. So I would say that I don't have them as a playoff team right now, but that could change. Again, I didn't have them as a playoff team. I didn't have them win in the World Series last year, and that's what they did. So I think you look at it that way, in that anything can really happen with this team. So I think they're pretty great. Still, I just think there's a lot of teams better. I would kind of compare them to the Giants in kind of a big way, mainly for the pitching staff. Both teams added names to the pitching staff to help them in the first half. They have good talent in this pitching staff, but a lot of talent coming back in the second half. With the Giants, it's Alex Cobb, Robbie Ray, Keaton Winn, Tristan Beck. For the Rangers, it's Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, Tyler Mahle. So I think the Rangers' rotation is going to get significantly better in the second half. And I think as long as they can bridge the gap from the first half to the second half and stay afloat with their pitching staff, it should be fine. I mean, having all these guys in the second half would be pretty incredible. I mean, you'd have Scherzer, you'd have deGrom, you'd have Gray, you'd have Eovaldi, you'd have Heaney, you'd have Bradford, Lorenzen. Like, those are 7 real guys. I don't even know if I mentioned Mahle. If I did, that's 7 or 8 guys now that can make a quality MLB start and be really, really good for you and be really big improvements to this pitching staff. So I think it was a great move. I think overall, even though it's not as significant enough a move to maybe get them into the playoffs, I think it's still a great move. I think it was a great job by them to make the move and get it done and add another pitcher. Now, just an overlook for them. Again, I would still have them as what I had yesterday, which is maybe a team that's 8 or 9 in the AL. As of right now, my rankings are: I would go Astros, Yankees, Orioles as top 3. I would then say the Mariners are above them. I would say the Blue Jays are 2. I would say the Rays are. That's 3. I would say the Twins are. That's 4. So I think they are right now probably the 9th best team in the AL, or the 8th best team actually. Sorry, I counted wrong. But I think that's just more having to do with the AL being so good than them being so horrible or just a disastrous team. No, they're still really good. It's just that there's a lot of better teams than them in the AL, and a lot of teams that are significantly past them in talent just because of those injuries. Now, their hitting core is still fantastic. I mean, there's the sheer amount of talent they have. Jonah Heim, Nathaniel Lowe, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Josh Young, Adolis Garcia, Evan Carter, Wyatt Langford. Like, just the sheer amount of talent on this Rangers team is honestly incredible with the hitting. So it won't surprise me if they make the playoffs or if they even win that division. I don't think they will, but I think they have a lot of good going for them. I think this Lorenzen signing helps them in that regard as well, and that's really what I think it is. So that's the thing with the Rangers is I love the Lorenzen move, but I don't think it's as significant enough to get them back into a certified playoff spot no matter what. Do I think Montgomery would have done that? Probably not. I think he's much more of a significant addition than Lorenzen would be, of course, because he is a much better player. I don't think anyone would be debating that, even Michael Lorenzen himself. But yeah, that's really just my overall thoughts on the Lorenzen signing. Again, a good move by Texas, maybe even a great move, but not significant enough to get them back into the playoffs, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens with the season in the end. And I could just be flat on my face wrong like last year. Obviously, I didn't have this show at this time last year where I picked the Rays to beat the Rangers in the first round. Obviously, that came out to blow up in my face because the Rangers then went on to win the World Series in 5 games. So anything can happen in baseball. I think the Rangers still have a great team, but I just think there's too many question marks about the rotation that even a good Michael Lorenzen signing doesn't fix. So that's really what my thoughts are on the Lorenzen signing and overall the Texas Rangers. So that was our third segment here. We're going to move on to our fourth and final segment, which is going to be about just some general news stories around the league. I think you guys know which one is going to be the first one. It involves Shohei Ohtani. I think that should make it clear what it's going to be about. I'll explain it after, but I'll explain why I didn't have a full segment on that after. So yeah, we'll be talking about that. But first we go to our third break. So thank you so much, and we'll see you after that. Thanks. Bye.